Rama Lila Madhuramrita. And we wish everyone a very, very happy Shri Ram Navami. Jai Ram Lakshman Sita Hanuman Ji ki Jai. Jai Siyawara Ramachandra ki Jai.
Ram Lakshman Janaki Jai Ho Hanuman ki.
Hari Bol. So yesterday we covered the topic which was the epitome of righteousness and sacrifice, which is embodied by Lord Ramachandra. And the topics that we covered yesterday were that the Lord goes with the sage Vishwamitra. He protects the sages of the ashram of Vishwamitra from Marich and Subahu. He delivers Tadaka. He delivers Ahalya, Mother Ahalya. And as a perfect son, just to fulfill the words and the promise of his father, Raghukul Rit Sada Chaliyai Prana Jai Par Vachana Na Jai. That this is the glory of Raghukul, the dynasty of Raghu, that their life can go, but their promise should never go. So as the perfect son, Lord Ramachandra, along with his dear brother Lakshmana, and with his beloved consort, Mother Sita, they all left for the forest. They leave Ayodhya. Then how the Lord protected the sages of Dandakaran, how the Lord delivered Vali, how we also saw yesterday how the Lord delivered Ravana. So before we move to today's session, we'd like to announce and congratulate the participants from the quiz session from yesterday. We'd like to congratulate Hari Prasad Prabhu, Mother Flavia, Radha Mataji, and Ranjani Gopika Mataji. Congratulations to all of you for participating in the quiz session from yesterday.
And today we'll be covering day 3 of the epitome of shelter, Sri Ramachandra, who is Saranagata Vatsala. First, we will discuss the service of Nishad Guha, the service mercy to the boatman, episode of Shurpanakha, the secrets behind the kidnapping of Mother Sita and protection of Jatayu, then the long-awaited sweet meeting with Mother Shabari, and finally, the shelter given to Vibhishana.
So today's topics are very, 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 very wonderful. And maybe request if the co-host can be given to Prabhu's name so that we can start the PPT sharing, please. So today, in this session, we are going to especially talk about when we are seeing about Jatayu. Please do pay attention to that section on Jatayu. Very, very, very important lessons to be learned from the service of Jatayu and how Sri Ramachandra gave his ultimate mercy to Sri Jatayu. So today, as we said, day 3, where we will be talking about the epitome of shelter, the Saranagata Vatsala of Sri Ramachandra. So as we saw that Lord Sri Ram, to uphold the promise given by his father to Mother KK, Lord Ram bids farewell to his birthplace Ayodhya. And then they start going. When they are leaving, all the residents of Ayodhya are also following with them. They don't want their dearly beloved Lord to leave. And when they come to the outskirts of Ayodhya, having traveled the extensive and the beautiful Koshala territory, and standing with his face turned towards Ayodhya, Lord Sri Ram joined his palms and he spoke the following words to the city of Ayodhya, as if bidding farewell to the city of Ayodhya.
Saying, I bid farewell to you, O my best of the cities. You are carefully protected by King Dashrath, born in the Raghu dynasty, as well as the deities who protect you and dwell inside you. I'll see you again after getting relieved from the exile in the forest, and thus fulfilling the promise of my dear father. In this way, Lord Ram, he reached river Ganga from Sarayu. Then he was looking at the river Ganga with its waves, which were covering whirlpools. And Lord Rama, he said to Sumantra, who was the charioteer, let's stop here today. Lord Ram, who is considered to be the delight of the Ikshvaku dynasty, he reached that beautiful tree and then got down from the chariot along with Sita and Lakshman.
So sage Valmiki, in his beautiful Ramayana, he says, later on after this, he says, Tatra Raja Guho Nama Ramasya Atma Samasakha Nishad Jatyo Balavan Sthapati Chaiti Vishruta.
There a king named Guha was Ram's dear friend, as dear as his own life. He was a Nishad by birth, very strong man, and well known as a ruler of the Nishadas. Hearing of Lord Ram, who is considered to be like the tiger among men, having come to this Nishad territory, the king of Nishadas, he approached the Prince Ram, and he was escorted by his elderly ministers and relatives. From a distance, when Lord Ram saw the king of Nishad coming, he went along with Lakshman and he met Guha. And then he very closely, he embraced Ram, and Guha said, this city is like Ayodhya to you. What can I do for you? Which means he's saying, you are the king here. Who indeed will get such a lovely guest? And so Nishad had brought pristine cooked rice, excellent quality, and all these other dishes of different kinds. And then he quickly offered him water to wash his hands and spoke, welcome. All this land is yours. We are your servants. You are the Lord. Rule over our kingdom in an efficient way. This is all yours. So then Lord Ram, while embracing, pressed gently with his muscular arms. And Lord Ram said, Guha, thank God that I'm seeing you in good health with your relatives. Is everything well in your kingdom? What about the allies? Are everyone doing well? The treasure? I know your affection by which all this is extensively, this is well arranged by you, but unfortunately, I'm not in a position to accept it. Just don't consider me as a king. Consider me as an ascetic by vow. I've taken the vow of asceticism. I'm wearing these robes of bark and deer skin, and I'm determined to live in the forest by eating roots and fruits only. So then he worshipped the evening twilight in the west as the sun was setting. And with an upper garment made of bark on himself, Lord Ram then took for food only water brought by Lakshman himself. Then Lord Ram was lying on the ground. Mother Sita was massaging the lotus feet of the Lord, and Lakshmana came, washed the feet of Lord Ram, and came and stood guard under a tree nearby, as we can see.
And Guhaka, he also, along with the, Sumantra, the charioteer, when the Lord was resting, and along with Lakshmana, he found out about the entire episode that happened in Ayodhya. And why is Lord Ram and his beloved youngly married wife, new bride Sita, why are they in the forest? What is happening? So Nishad Guha, he got all the update, and he was to hear about the banishment of Lord Ramachandra. His heart just broke into a million pieces, and that's why the very next day, when the Lord woke up, he said, "You don't have to go. You have been left from Ayodhya. You take my kingdom. You be the ruler of my kingdom, my Lord. Everything of mine belongs to you." This is what he thought that he will tell the Lord in the morning. But the entire night, along with Lakshmana, he kept a strict vigil over the divine couple who rested just on plain earth. They rested. So the early next morning, after completing the morning worship, Lord Ram expressed his desire to cross the Ganga and enter the forest. And Nishad Guha, what he was thinking the entire night, he came and told Ramachandra that, "Prabhu, you don't go. Don't go to the forest. You're anyways outside the Kaushala kingdom. This is mine. It belongs to me. I am offering it to you. You be the ruler here. You rule this kingdom. This is yours." Lord Ram said, "No, my dear friend. Thank you so much. But I just wish to cross the Ganga and go." So after a lot of insistence, when Lord Ramachandra, his determination cannot be wavered. So then Nishad Guhas, he brought one of his boatmen, whose duty was to take people, on and across the river Ganga. And his name was Kevat. Kevat means a boatman. So then when the Kevat came, he came down from the boat, and this Kevat, he had intense devotion to Lord Ramachandra. And this Kevat, this boatman, he asked his king Guha whether he could wash the Lord's lotus feet before Lord Ramachandra stepped on his boat. So Guha said, first let them cross the river. Just wait, let them cross the river, then you do what you want. No, first make them cross the river. But Kevat was very adamant. He said, no. I cannot let the Lord get on the boat without first washing his feet. And then the Kevat, he came and explained his point of view to Lord Ramachandra. The Kevat said,
"My dear Lord, I have a very limited income, very small, because I'm just a boatman and it's just enough to make both ends meet in my life. And I'm afraid I cannot afford any more boats. So please, let me please wash your lotus feet before you step onto my boat." And so Lord Ram, he smiled, looking at Sita Devi, and remained silent. So the Kevat continued, "My Lord, I have heard this. This is something I've heard, that the dust from your lotus feet touched a stone in the forest and it became a woman." He was talking about Ahilya. "My boat is made up of several pieces of wood, and if the dust of your lotus feet falls on my boat, I am actually afraid that the boat would turn into several women corresponding to each piece of wood, and I really cannot take care of any more members of my household. So that's why I'm requesting you, can I wash your lotus feet so that it's free of dust, and then you can step onto the boat? Please be kind to me." And when he was pursued in that way, Lord Ram then appreciated the pure and innocent faith of this Kevat, this boatman. And then Kevat got the good fortune of washing the lotus feet of Lord Ram, and he drank the water as Mahaprasada. As we see here, the boatman is washing the lotus feet of Lord Ram and taking his shelter, and the Lord is giving, the Saranagata Vatsala is providing shelter to him. Then after this Kevat, who is the boatman, placed his hands on the earth and requested the Lord to please first step on my hand before you step on the boat. And so the Kevat, then the Lord agreed to that request. They came on the boat after stepping on the hand of this boatman, this Kevat. And he then ferried them across the river. And as soon as they came out of the boats, Mother Sita, being pleased by the innocence and faith of this kevat, withdrew a ring from her finger, handed it over to Lord Ram, and signaled to please pass it on to the boatman. Just in this act, we are learning so many aspects of culture and respect. Mother Sita is not giving directly to the boatman. She is giving to Lord Ram. Lord Ram then gave to the boatman. This is how she is expressing her appreciation. So Lord Ram, he gave to the boatman, says, "Here, my dear brother, this is all we can pay you for your kind service. That's all we have. Please accept it." And the kevat said, "No, no, 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 my lord, I cannot take this from you." Why? Because people of the same procession do not charge each other for their services. Have you ever seen that a barber taking payment from another barber when he's giving haircut to that barber? No. A washerman, have you seen that he charges a fellow washerman? Never. So Lord Ram said, "Okay, that's fine, but how can you and I be of the same profession? You are a boatman and I am..." And so the kevat said, "My lord, my dear lord, both of us do the same work. I ferry people from this shore of the Ganges to the other shore. But you ferry people across the ocean of samsara, this Bhavasagar, through the journey of life. So how can I accept payment from a person who is of the same profession as myself? Prabhu, I don't want anything, but please, as I have made you cross this river today, when my time comes, please take me across the ocean of material existence, the Sansar Sagar. That would be your return to me, if you desire." And it seems such a devotional request from this kevat. The Lord became so overwhelmed that he held out his arms and he just embraced the boatman. Later, of course, this expert ferryman who knew how to serve the Lord, how to extract the permission from the Lord to be served. This expert ferryman was delivered from the cycle of birth and death just because of this little service that he did with such eagerness and gratefulness and with tact and with respect to the Supreme Lord. He also begged, "My dear Lord, as a payment, please, I ask for endless devotion to your lotus feet." And Lord Ram was so pleased. He said, "From today, you do not need to take another birth. I award you pure devotional service."
Saranagata Vatsala Sri Ramachandra Bhagavan ki jai.
Here, this is the art of service. Sometimes when we see, when we are serving devotees some prasad, some devotees, they would say, "No, no, no, I don't want it. I don't want it." One way of serving is by following what they are saying. "Okay, you don't want more, I will give you more." Another way of service is by reminding the wonderful qualities of this particular, of the prasad that is being offered, wonderful quality of that particular item that is being offered. Another is to remind maybe some devotional activity that is related to this prasad item. Maybe Lord Chaitanya liked this very much, take little. And in this way, of course, without forcing, convince the other person to accept our service in a non-intrusive manner. That's what we can learn from this kevat, this boat.
Jai Sri Ramachandra Prabhu ki jai. So now let us see about the episode of Shurpanakha. So Shurpanakha is actually regarded as one of the most significant characters in Valmiki Ramayana. Valmiki, the great sage, he actually calls her to be one of the key factors, the key characters, important character in the Ramayana. And Sri Valmiki, he actually calls her the arrow that started the chain of events leading directly to the destruction of Ravana. So Shurpanakha was given the name Meenakshi. Meenakshi means one who has eyes like fish. When she was born, she was quite beautiful. But later, because of her demoniac qualities, when they started developing, she started being called as Shurpanakha. Shurpanakha means, Nakha means nails, and Shurpa means very sharp. So Shurpanakha means one who has very sharp nails, long, long nails. Nowadays, it's a fashion to keep long nails. But those days, if women would have long nails, they would be considered to be Shurpanakha. And no offense, please don't take any offense of the ladies out there. But thus, this is what Shurpanakha means. So Shurpanakha was married to this great asura named Dushta Buddhi. Dushta Buddhi means one who is, Dushta means naughty, very demoniac, and Buddhi means intelligence. So his name was a demoniac intelligence person. So this, in the beginning, when they were married, Shurpanakha's husband, he enjoyed a lot of favors with Shurpanakha's brother, the great mighty Ravana, the king of Lanka. But somehow, later this Dushta Buddhi, because of his intelligence, was so demoniac, Ravana actually had him killed. And that's how, Shurpanakha also developed some kind of, a hidden hatred for her brother for killing her husband. So this widowed Shurpanakha, she would spend her time in Lanka, and she would also spend her time with, coming across Lanka. She would fly across the ocean, and she would come to the southern part of India, visiting her cousin brothers who were dwelling in the forest. Once in a while she would come. So during one such visit, she saw Lord Ramachandra in the forest in Panchavati, and immediately seeing him, she just fell in love with him, and she wanted to have Lord Ramachandra as her husband. And therefore, what did she do? This ugly woman, she just transformed herself using some mystic potency. She just transformed herself to this very beautiful looking girl. And then she came in front of Lord Ramachandra. And as soon as she came in front of Lord Ramachandra, Lord Ram said, "What do you want me to do? What can I do for you?" And then, she started praising Lord Ram's masculine beauty. And she said, "I just want to marry you, oh Lord Ram. Please, marry me." Then Lord Ram said, "Well, I am already married, and I have taken the vow of Ekapatni Vrata, which means I am going to be loyal and I'll be having only one wife. Ekapatni means one wife. And I have taken this as my vow. So I can't really marry you, but I have a proposition for you. You see, I can't do, you can see here that Lakshmana, but Lakshmana, he's my brother. He's equivalent to me. And you can marry him." So then Shurpanakha said, very good proposal, very good proposal. And then Lakshmana, she approached Lakshmana, "Lakshmana, you marry me." And then Lakshmana said, "Well, see, no doubt I'm alone in this forest, but what am I? I am, after all, the servant of my dear brother, Lord Ram." Lakshmana thought that he wants to just, pull the leg of this. Both these brothers could understand that this is a demoness. They could understand it. So Lakshmana thought he'll just have some fun with her, some casual banter with her. So Lakshmana said, "Why do you want to be my wife? If you become my wife, you'll be considered the wife of the servant, and you will have to help me serve my brother. Why? Where you can be the queen, why you want to be the servant?" No, 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 no. You go back. So you can see here in this picture, both the brothers are going back and forth. Lakshmana is saying, no, 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 you can go marry Ramachandra. And then Ramachandra is saying, no, 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 I can't marry you because I have Sita with me. So then Shurpanakha, she got so upset that she said, oh, the reason for all this is this woman, Sita. I will not leave her. And then she just gave up her beautiful form and her real demoniac form came out and she was coming and she said, I'm going to kill and eat this Sita. And once Sita is eaten, then Ram can marry me, no problem. So then as soon as she was coming to eat Mother Sita, Lakshmana just stepped in between and he just raised his sword and then he just chopped off her nose, chopped off the nose of Surpanakha. And then when her nose was chopped off, she was so much insulted, to chop off the nose of a woman or of anyone, it's a matter of pride. This nose is a matter of pride. In Hindi, there's a saying, naak unchi karke baat karte hain, means you talk with your nose held high. Your nose always is standing out from your face. So if that nose is cut, it's like direct attack on the ego. So the Shurpanakha was so mad. She was so ferocious. She just ran away from the Lakshmana said, you run away from here. If you come near me again, I will kill you. I cannot kill you now, but I will kill you next time you come next in front of me. So then to avenge this insult, she first reacted. She went to her, brothers, the cousin brothers, Khara and Dushana, who were there in that very forest. And Khara, they were mighty armed and they came with 700,000 soldiers and they were all killed effortlessly by Lord Ramachandra. And then she just went straight to the court of Ravana, to her brother, and she just started saying that if she goes and tells that, look, Ram, look, Ravana, my brother, I went there for my, setting up my marriage alliance with Ram, and this is what his brother did to me, then Ravana is not going to pay any heed to what she's saying. So in order to manipulate her brother, what did Shurpanakha say? Shurpanakha said, my dear brother, look what happened to me. I actually went to this forest of Khardushana where they are, and there are these three people. One is Ram, then his brother, and Ram's wife Sita, and she's like the most beautiful woman in the entire creation. And she is actually fit to be your wife. And Shurpanakha started glorifying the qualities of Mother Sita. That, she is so beautiful, she's so elegant, and I wanted her to be your wife. And that's why I went there. And look what those brothers did to me. I went there for you. Now you should go and bring that Sita over here so those men will learn their lesson. This is how horrible when women or when anyone wants to take any revenge, not just women, but when anyone wants to take any revenge, which is it is out of personal envy, it is out of grudge, it is out of enviousness, they can go up to any extent, lie up to any extent to make things favorable for them. And this is what was exemplified by Shurpanakha. Just to serve her, her horrible desires, she just manipulated and twisted the entire situation and presented it to Ravana so that Ravana would get it. If she would have told the incident as it is, that she wanted to marry Ram, then Ravana would not have even paid any attention. But she knew how to get Ravana involved. So this is how manipulative a person can become. So then, being puffed up like this and, thinking that, oh, my sister has been insulted by those mere human beings, and now I'm going to do this. So Ravana was so much, puffed up by this whole act of Shurpanakha. that he just said, okay, I will go and bring Sita here and I will, really abduct her and I will force her to marry me. And Ravana was, when he decided to do that, he was advised by his brothers, by his own son, by his wife Mandodari, that please don't do this heinous act of kidnapping Mother Sita. Don't do this. Kidnapping any married woman is not good. Don't do that. But this was not just the downfall of Ravana himself, but of all the demoniac people in the land of Lanka. So just because of Shurpanakha inciting Ravana to do these kind of things, the chain of activities had now thus been started of the downfall of the people of Lanka and of Ravana. So now let us see some of the secrets behind the kidnapping of Mother Sita. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Madhya Lila, it is mentioned
that when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Rameshwaram, he had a chance to read Kurma Purana, in which he discovered that actually the form of Sita, who was kidnapped by Ravan, was not the real Sita, but a Chaya Sita, a shadow representation. And the Kurma Purana also states that this shadow Sita was placed into a fire as a test of chastity. And then it was this Chaya Sita or Maya Sita who entered the fire, and the real Sita came out of the fire.
So many people actually question, even Lakshmana himself had questioned that when Lord Ramachandra defeated Ravana and he asked for Mother Sita to come, he asked for this test by fire, Agni Pariksha. And Lakshmana said, you don't trust. And then Lord Ram then revealed to Lakshmana that even before the episode of Mother Sita being kidnapped, this is what had happened. That Lord Ram had personally told Mother Sita that now the episode is coming of Ravana's downfall. And I want you to be safe, because if Ravana would catch the chaste Mother Sita, he would actually be burnt to ashes right there. That is the power of the chastity of Mother Sita. So therefore, Lord Ramachandra then told Mother Sita that you go to some safe place. So then Mother Sita then invoked the fire god and she entered the fire. As we see here, that Lord Ram and Sita is alone here. Even Lakshmana was not there. He did not know about this. There was only a secret between Lord Ramachandra and Mother Sita, that the original Sita went with the fire god, leaving behind the shadow Sita.
So then, as soon as Ravana arrived before Sita, as she was crossing that line, Agni Dev, the fire god, came and took Sita, took the real Sita and presented Chaya Sita. And this Chaya Sita is the one, the shadow Sita, is the one who Ravana kidnapped. Then, on hearing this from Kurma Puran, how Ravana had kidnapped a false form of Mother Sita, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just became very, very satisfied. In fact, the fire god Agni took away the real Sita, brought her to the place of Parvati, goddess Durga, and then an illusory form of Mother Sita was delivered to Ravana. In this way, actually, Ravana was thinking that he is cheating Lord Ram, but actually, Ravana got cheated. And then, when the illusory Sita was brought before the Agni Pariksha, the fire by Lord Ramachandra, the fire god made the illusory form disappear and delivered the real Sita to Lord Ramachandra. As we can see, there is a form of the fire god behind Sita, who is presenting the real Sita to Lord Ramachandra. In this way, this is how the Lord protects his devotees and consorts. This is how the fire god Agni Dev is presenting Sita Devi, the real Sita Devi back.
So now we are coming to this episode about Jatayu. You see, no one in this material world likes to lose. When we find ourselves losing, we often try to team up with someone who is stronger than us so that we can emerge victorious. When people actually start performing any kind of spiritual life, they hope that the Lord will actually help them win in every battle of their life. And the world's scriptures actually contains, celebrated narrations. There are so many incidences where the Lord has helped the devotees to overcome Herculean tasks. But the scriptures also contain the alternate, when the devotees are actually defeated. So many incidences are there that the devotees have faced defeat. So how do we see such? How do we understand about this fact of victory in defeat for the devotees? Because for materialistic people, defeat is defeat. But for devotees, there is victory even in their so-called defeat. And that is what we are going to learn from this incident and pastime of Jatayu. So we can see how even Pitama Bhishma, even the Pandavas, they suffered so much setbacks in their own lives, but they never gave up. They had so many reversals in their life, but they never gave up on their faith in Krishna. So to understand how spiritual vision can change our perception of reversals, let's look at the pastime of the great vulture Jatayu.
We know that Jatayu is best known for having attained perfection while he was trying to stop Ravana from abducting Sita. This demon, Ravana, as he had conspired to abduct Mother Sita, which is Chaya Sita, we just heard about that. He was carrying Sita through the airways in the mystic chariots, as we can see. And as he was carrying, Sita desperately called for help. Help! Help! Ram and Lakshman couldn't hear because they were too far away. But someone else heard and acted upon it. Sita saw this vulture, Jatayu, devotional devotee vulture, was rising from the tree. And this elderly bird had been a friend of Dasharath, Sita's late father-in-law, and was residing in this Dandaka forest. In fact, Jatayu's elder brother Sampati had saved Dasharath one time in a battle. And so they became the best of friends. So when Ram, Sita, Lakshman, they had come to Dandakaranya, Dandaka forest, Jatayu had welcomed them just like a parents. And he had assured Ramachandra, I will help protect Sita in the dangerous, this demon-infested forest. And true to his word, Jatayu was now flying to her rescue. Sita, remember, she's the wife of a warrior. She quickly assessed the comparative strengths of Ravana and Jatayu. And she realized, Jatayu, this aged bird, will be no match for this younger, stronger demon Ravana. So she called out to him, asking him, please, please inform Ram about my abduction. And cautioned him, don't intervene. I'm just telling you to inform Lord Ramachandra. I'm not asking you to fight. Please don't. If you can just let Ramachandra know about this, he will come and protect us. But despite knowing that he'll be hard pressed to match Ravana. He felt driven. I have to protect her by doing everything within my power. And so, great determination, Jatayu flew by the side of Ravana and rebuked. What kind of irreligious act are you doing, abducting a married woman? But that lecture on virtue by a vulture didn't deter this vile demon, Ravana. Jatayu just immediately changed track and challenged Ravana to a fight. And when Ravana kept flying on, Jatayu goaded him, called him. First, Ravana ignored Jatayu. So why are you even bothering me? Fine, you keep your morals and virtue to yourself, I'm leaving. And Ravana just ignored and started leaving. But Jatayu started calling him, you coward! You are showing back to an old vulture. You have no strength. You are just a big coward. You're kidnapping Sita behind Ram's back. And Ravan still didn't respond, just ignored. And then Jatayu resorted to the only other option left to him, attack.
So we can see this was the third time. He gave Ravana two options. First, by philosophically talking to him about moral values, Ravana did not listen. Second, by even calling him a coward and trying to ask him to stop, don't do this. Even that, Ravana did not listen. So then thirdly, he finally attacked.
So the vulture Prabhu, Jatayu pierced Ravana's arms with his beaks and nails, caught his hair in the beak, pulled him around. Ravana was just roaring in fury because he was feeling humiliated. He was being dragged by just a mere vulture, that too in front of a woman that he wanted to impress. and he wanted to make her the chief new queen. Now if a vulture just plays around with this Ravana, what kind of impression he would have. So when Jatayu attacked him so fiercely, he decided, all right, I was ignoring so long, but now I have to fight. And Ravana had been counterattacking Jatayu with arrows he discharged from his gigantic bow, but the bird just shrugged off the arrows and continued the attack. He was flapping his wings vigorously, and Jatayu just shrugged off the arrows. But Jatayu was still wounded. Still, he kept attacking Ravana. Eventually, he broke his bow. The bowstring was broken, and Ravana quickly strung another bow and counterattacked. And again, Jatayu was evading some arrows and was enduring others, and Jatayu swooped down on Ravana. And with all the strength that Jatayu had, this astonishing strength, he ripped off one of Ravana's arms. But Jatayu just saw that arm, which was just ripped off, grew right back again. And Ravana had received a benediction from Rama that whenever his limbs would be cut, they would grow back. And so Jatayu dismembered Ravana repeatedly, cut the limbs, but they grew back within moments. And over time, Jatayu became tired and the movement started to become slower and slower. And Ravana took advantage of this, sensed his opportunity, moved with lightning speed, and cut off one of the wings with his sword. But Jatayu pursued with one wing. He was trying to attack again. And in no time, Ravana cut off the other wing too. Now Jatayu was bleeding profusely, fell to the ground, crying in dismay. Sita Devi, she had just shrunk away from this gruesome fight. She ran towards Jatayu to comfort him. Jatayu, Jatayu. And Ravana, he roared a victorious roar, trapped Mother Sita by her hair. What offense! That's why Ravana got what he deserved. But he also got the mercy. And then Ravana, by his mystic power, rose into the sky, flew away, leaving Jatayu just writhing in helpless agony. So although Jatayu was wounded, he just maintained with great grit and determination, maintained his life, because the service that was asked by Sita Devi was not to attack, but to inform Lord Ram. So he was waiting for Lord Ram to come. He had tried to do more than what Sita Devi said, but he had failed. But still, he was determined to fulfill Sita's request. And he was so much in pain. He waited, called out the name of Ram, Ram, Ram. And then he started finding solace in that helpless, sacred chanting of Lord Ramachandra. So whenever we take shelter of the Lord by calling out his names helplessly, the Lord always reciprocates.
Meanwhile, Lord Ram, along with Lakshmana, they were frantically searching for Mother Sita. And in time, they came to this forest clearing, which was evident by all the blood spilling there, that there was some brutal battle that happened here. Lord Ram could immediately make out. And noticing that there was a creature that was lying in the ground nearby, Lord Ram actually thought that it was Sita's demoniac abductor in a form of a bird, and he was prepared to shoot that object with his bow. Jatayu was so badly mutilated that Lord Ram couldn't even recognize Jatayu. Just imagine what a test of faith would this have been for Jatayu, when he would see that the Lord whom he worships is coming towards him but wanting to attack him. That Lord Ram is actually pulling the arrow to kill him for the very same person for whom he risked his life, was about to take his life. Yet he very meekly, because he was not able to speak loudly, very meekly he was just continuing to chant Sri Ramanam. He was chanting the names of Lord Ramachandra. And Lord Ram heard the faint chant, and immediately he just came running, and he noticed that this is my dearly beloved father like Jatayu. And with his last few breaths, Jatayu explained what happened. And Lakshmana actually brought some water to give to Jatayu. But then, after delivering his service, giving the message that Sita Mata has been abducted by this Ravana, and they flew south. That's the only thing he could say. After giving this message, Jatayu breathed his last. He just fell silent. Then Lord Ramachandra, he performed his final rites. Lord Ram personally performed the final rites, the last rites of Jatayu, which is such a divine act of grace, because such a thing cannot be heard. Jatayu was just a vulture. So here we see that although Jatayu lost in his battle with Ravana, he lost in that battle, but he achieved the supremely rewarding success by dying in the presence of Lord Ramachandra, absorbed in remembrance of Lord Ramachandra. In fact, it can be said that what can be so much more successful that he not just died in the presence of Lord Ram, because in this regard we see that even Pitama Bhishma, he also died in the presence of the Lord, but the death of Jatayu is more glorious than Pitama Bhishma. Why? Because Jatayu died in the lap, in the loving embrace of Lord Ramachandra. Lord Ramachandra embraced Jatayu in his final moments. So this is such an ideal departure for Jatayu, being in his vulture form. And Jatayu's fortune didn't end here. It is said that after Jatayu departed, Lord Ramachandra performed the last rites of Jatayu and offered him the same respect and honor that a son would do to his father. And Jatayu attained liberation. You can see here, we can see here that how Jatayu attained his four-handed form and went back to the spiritual world. From the body of from a vulture, he got direct liberation. Jatayu, he did lose in this battle against Ravana, but he won the war against this worldly Maya. He was victorious even in his defeat. So this is the glory of a devotee. Jai Jatayu ji ki jai. Saranagata Vatsala Shri Ramachandra Bhagavan ki jai. So now let us quickly see the pastime of the long-awaited sweet meeting with Mother Shabari of Lord Ramachandra.
So when Matanga Rishi, if you remember, Matanga Rishi was living on the Rishyamukha mountain, and Bali had actually killed Dundubhi and sent where Matanga Rishi in Rishyamukha mountain was performing fire sacrifice, and that made his fire sacrifice go awry, and so Matanga Rishi cursed Bali in this way. The same Matanga Rishi had a disciple called Shabari, and said, Matanga Rishi was departing to the spiritual world. At that time, he told his disciple, my dear daughter, Shabari, I'm going to leave this body. What can I give you? Is there anything I can give you? So Shabari said, my dear Lord and Master Matanga Rishi, I beg that please you take me with you wherever you are going. I cannot live without you. Matanga instructed, my dear daughter, I would take you, but listen to me. One day, Lord Ram is going to come to this ashram. I want that you stay here, welcome him whenever he comes. Remain here until then. After that, you will come to me. So Shabari, receiving these instructions from her spiritual master, just remained in the ashram, continually in her service, waiting, eagerly waiting for the day that she can fulfill the order of her spiritual master and have the darshan of her beloved Lord Ram. When would he come? She would clean the ashram. She would go to the forest, collect berries to serve Lord Ram, just in case if he would come that day. Those days, there was no mobile. There was no GPS. There was no email that Lord Ramachandra would say, I am coming today, or I'm coming on such and such date. She would not even know what date it is. She would be so absorbed in the service. But all she knew is when there is night, the next day, Lord Ram may come. Next day, Lord Ram may come. Every day, Shabari would do this, day after day, year after year, never knowing when Lord Ram would come, but always being prepared if he comes. Her faith would be that he would, because her beloved Guru Maharaj, Matanga Rishi, had told her that Ram will come, so Ram will come. This is faith. When the spiritual master says something, we have faith in that and we eagerly try to fulfill that. The question is not, when the Guru gives an instruction, we should not ask why. We should ask, how can I do it? That's what we should ask ourselves. And that's what she said. She never lost faith in her spiritual master. Finally, the day came when Lord Ram arrived in the ashram of Mother Shabari. And Shabari prayed to Lord Ram, my Lord, you please come to my ashram. I've been waiting for you. I've decorated it with flowers for you. I've brought sweet berries for you. I beg, my Lord, please, please come. And Ram and Lakshman just followed her to her dwelling, to her place where Shabari brought them sweet berries in a bowl made of leaves. Lord Ram was so pleased with the faith of Shabari in her Guru Matanga Rishi and the loving service that Shabari had rendered in her. Love and faith in him. Then Shabari explained, my dear Lord, sometimes the berries in this forest, are sweet, but sometimes they are sour. So I've selected only the sweet berries for you. And how do I know these are the sweet berries? Because I have tasted. I have done this by tasting every berry to make sure that I only bring the sweetest berries for you. Please accept these berries. We take prasad of the Lord, which the Lord we offer him, he accepts it, and then we take his Mahaprasad. Here is an example where the Lord is taking the Mahaprasad of his devotee. That is the level of love and devotion of Shabari. And the Lord just looked very lovingly at his beloved devotee Shabari, went to take the berry. But Lakshman, he stopped Lord Ram. My dear brother, have you seen what she has done? These berries have been eaten. You cannot eat these. And Lord Ram looked at Lakshman. Simultaneously, he took a berry and ate while looking at the eyes of Lakshman as if to say, look, I did it. And then he said, you think I cannot eat these? Watch me. And he ate those berries. And then he said, my dear brother Lakshman, these berries, they are so sweet. You also take some. I've never tasted berries as sweet as these in my entire life. More than Shabari has given. Because what is the secret ingredient of this? Love. When anyone offers something to me in love, I accept it with great joy. The same thing that Krishna told in Bhagavad Gita. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. One who offers me with love, a leaf, a fruit, a flower, I accept it with love. If he offers me with love, I accept it. So Lord Ram, he was so much touched by her love and seeing the tree from which Shabari had used the leaves to make the bowls. Lord Ram blessed that tree. And its leaves just began to grow and become like bowls. The leaves themselves became like bowls. And then Lord Ram asked Shabari, ask me anything that you wish. I'm pleased by your devotion. So Shabari prayed, I just pray that I be able to attain pure devotional service to you, my dear Lord Ram.
And then Shabari said that I am here to serve you, of course, because my Guru Maharaj told me that I have to serve you and to welcome you in my ashram. And I know that you have come here searching for Mother Sita, and I have a message to give you. And Lord Ram said, how do you know? She said, my Guru Maharaj told me, and the message for you is that you should now go towards the Rishyamukha mountain and go there, and there you will meet the king of the monkeys, Sugriva. Meet with him, and his great intelligent monkey is there, his minister, Hanuman is there. So they will help you in finding Mother Sita. So this is the message I want to give you. So after giving this message to Lord Ram and receiving the blessings of Lord Ramachandra, she left her body right in the presence of Lord Ramachandra and attained the eternal spiritual abode and attained the perfection of her life by reuniting again with her spiritual master, Sri Matanga Rishi. So may the blessings of the Lord's beloved devotees be upon us, that we may obtain the ultimate in love, in Krishna Prema, just like Mother Shabari did, with her unflinching faith that she has towards her spiritual master. Jai Shabari Devi ki jai.
Now we discuss how the Lord gave shelter to Vibhishana. Vibhishan was a great devotee of Lord Ram. He was the brother, younger brother of Ravana. Vibhishan was not a traitor. He loved Ravana. And he, out of his love, he implored Ravana, please return Mother Sita to Lord Ram. But Ravana's obstinacy was so impelled that he abandoned his brother Vibhishan.
So when Vibhishan, he said, I then have no other way, but let me just go and seek shelter of Lord Ramachandra. So as we see here in this picture, that Vibhishan, he came with his 3 other ministers. So 4 people coming through, they had mystic potency. So they were coming through Krishna Chaitanya, the sky. They were flying in the sky and coming. And Sugriva said, stop, don't you dare come down, because they are coming from the enemy camp, from Ravana's camp. So then Vibhishan, they stopped there. They just stood there in the air. And then Lord Ramachandra, he had a meeting with everybody, with Sugriva, with Hanumanji, with Jambavan, with everyone, to ask their opinion. What do they feel?
Sugriva said, Vibhishan, he's the brother of Lord Ram, of Ravana. He's spying for him. We must just tie him immediately. The enemy has come to us. This is a clever ploy by Ravana. And then everyone else was saying the same thing. Nal, Neel, no, we should not. And then Jamvan actually said, well, even if we accept him now, and maybe he's sincere, we accept him now, but what is the guarantee that at the time when we fight Ravana on the battlefield, Vibhishan, if his heart changes seeing his brother? Because the calling of the blood is very, very powerful. It changes the mind of even the greatest of sincere people. So there, if he starts thinking, he's my brother, how can I kill him? He's at that time he changes his mind. What would happen? What Jamwan said was very, very wise from a material perspective. And then after that, when everyone spoke, Ram, like a true leader, he did not intervene then. He asked the question and he started hearing from everyone. And he was patiently hearing. Then he saw that Hanuman was silent. So Ram asked Hanuman, what do you think? Hanuman said, my dear Lord, when I had gone to Lanka on your behalf to bring Mother Sita, to find Mother Sita, as I was going to find Mother Sita, from one of the houses, there was some great sound coming softly. Ram, 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 Ram. And hearing this, I was surprised. What is this sound? Who is taking the name of my dear Lord Ram? And I went to that house, attracted by that chanting of the holy names, and I saw it was Vibhishan. It was Vibhishan's house. He was sitting there and chanting your holy names. So I think he is a true devotee, and he has actually, he's very, very, I think we should accept. He was the only one who said. So Lord Ramachandra, he quietly heard everyone. Then he got up. He went back. In fact, Sugriv actually told him that, my dear Lord, tie him up, tie him up. Hear us, we must tie him up. But then the Lord, when Vibhishan came to Lord Ram's room, the Lord came and gave him a big hug. And Sugriva said, what? My dear Lord, I asked you, we had suggested you that you should tie him up. So Lord Ram said, yes, I've followed your advice. You said to tie him up, but you didn't say how I should tie him up. Instead of tying him up with ropes, I have tied him up in my arms.
Jai Saranagata Vatsala Shri Ramachandra Bhagavan ki Jai.
Because the one who is tied up in my embrace will never leave.
Jai, Jai,
So in
Jai.
this way, Vibhishana actually teaches us that to serve the Lord means to uphold the truth. And this may mean sacrificing even our loved ones if they abandon sacred principles. So in this way, actually, when Sugriva and everyone was so surprised at the decision of Lord Ram said, well, if someone comes and takes my shelter and even tells once, Tavasmi, that I am yours, whatever he has done, I leave that immediately and come and take him into my shelter. Just once with sincerity, saying, I'm yours. He accepts. This is the secret of taking shelter of the Lord. In fact, and then the next verse, he says, what to speak of Vibhishana? If even Ravana comes today and tells me, I am yours, please, I take your shelter, I will forgive and take him under my shelter. This is the mercy of Sri Ramachandra. And this is why Ramayana teaches us how to lead in this world. Mahabharata Gita teaches us how to live in this world. Bhagavatam teaches us how to lead this world. And Chaitanya Charitamrita teaches us how to love in this world.
Jai Sharanagata Vatsala Shri Ramachandra Bhagavan ki Jai. So today we will end our session here. Please forgive us for the delay because today is a special day, but it went a little long, so please forgive us for that. We can open the lines for now to take any questions or comments. And by that time, we can also have the quiz ready and we will announce that very shortly. But for now, we can open up the lines if there's any questions or comments. Vinita Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisance. Mataji, your class was awesome, very nice. I don't have a doubt, but I have a question. Like with Krishna Lila, we learn that we cannot achieve Krishna Prem or Krishna Bhakti without going through Radharani. But with Ramji, it is like, it's direct. Like, have I understood this right or what? And still there is some guna difference between both the lords.
Yes.
Yeah, means
there is a difference between Krishna.
I don't know if I've spoken my question right. But
yes, if we understand it correctly, you are asking that Krishna we have to approach through Radharani. So
yes.
Ram can be approached directly? No,
Yes.
if we really want to take shelter of Lord Ram, we have to, the principle is to take shelter, we have to please his devotees.
Okay.
And when his devotees are pleased, then the Lord immediately gives shelter. We can approach him directly, but then we have to have like great devotion. But even then, we cannot ignore his devotees and go to the Lord and say, it's just direct between you and me and all these other devotees, I don't care.
Just like in the past time we heard about Vibhishana, just now.
Right.
Vibhishana came to approach Lord Ram, but then he needed the approval and the recommendation of Hanumanji. And once recommended by Hanumanji, Lord Ram didn't even question and he just embraced Vibhishana.
Right.
Similarly with Shabari. Shabari also got this opportunity because of Matanga Rishi, because of her spiritual master, not directly with Lord Ram. And she was doing it on behalf of her spiritual master. Her spiritual master was saying, if I was there, I would have loved to welcome Lord Ram, but I have to leave. My body is asking me to leave now. So you take care of this service. So she was not ignoring, even though she was directly interacting with Lord Ram, But she was not, she was grateful to her spiritual master, and because her spiritual master gave that service, she was delivered. And that was what pleased Ram, not Shurpanakha approached directly without any devotee's recommendation. And look what happened.
Yes, Prabhuji, I got it. Like it's basically das dasanu das.
Yes.
That is what we have to learn and follow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Morning without you all is not a day to start with. Thank you so much for your association.
Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So before we take any more questions, give us a minute and we'll just announce the quiz questions for today. Okay, here it is. So the day 3 of Sri Ram Lila Madhuramrita.
First, why did the boatman desire to wash the lotus feet of the Lord? Second, why did the boatman refuse to accept the payment from Lord Ramachandra?
Third, what is the lesson to be learned from the boatman? Fourth, what does Shurpanakha mean?
Fifth, name the husband of Shurpanakha.
Very good question.
Sixth, what is the vow of Lord Ramachandra?
Seventh, what are the 3 options Jatayu gave to Ravana? Eighth, what is the service Mother Sita gave to Jatayu?
Ninth, why is the departure of Jatayu more glorious than the departure of even Bhishma? 10th, what is the instruction that Shabari received from her spiritual master Matanga Rishi?
11th, what does Vibhishana teach us? 12th, what is the secret of taking shelter of Lord Sri Ramachandra? Beautiful questions. Thank you so much, dearest Ranjani Gopika, for these wonderful, wonderful questions. Rupa Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
So nice to hear both of you early morning. My morning starts so beautifully, I cannot tell you. Today I have a doubt. From what I know of the Ramayana, Sita Mata
Your voice is breaking. Can you just speak into
had this boon that anybody
Your voice is breaking.
We cannot hear anything that you said. Can you please repeat it again?
Your voice was breaking.
Oh, okay. I'll move to a place with better network. I was asking Sita Mataji, she had this boon that anybody who would touch her would be turned to ashes. Then how could Ravan touch her and pull her by her hair and kidnap her? How was it possible?
Well, that was what was explained, that that was not real Sita. That was Chaya Sita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he found the Kurma Puran in which it was described that when
Before the kidnapping,
Agni Dev had taken Mother Sita and kept her safe in the abode of Parvati, Mother Durga. And then when Ravana kidnapped, it was the Chaya Sita. And then when in the end, when the Agni Pariksha was asked by Mother Sita entered the fire, and when she came from the other side, Agni Dev took the Chaya Sita and brought back the real Sita and gave to Lord Ram. So the actual Sita, she was never kidnapped, and she was never touched by Ravana. Because, and the proof is that Ravana did not burn. If it was real Sita, he would have burned.
Okay, so but when Sita Mata, when she was in Ashok Vatika, and whenever Ravan used to come to talk to her or meet her, she would hold up a blade of grass, no? Ki, if you come near me, then I will burn everything down.
Yeah, that was her chastity. That was definitely her chastity, that she was protecting herself. That, just setting up the limits, basically, that not that, and And Ravana actually also had received a curse that if he, forcefully would, ask for the intimacy of another woman, then he would actually also, his head would burst into pieces. So he was also scared to come and touch, for intimacy to Mother Sita. He was very scared, even the Chaya Sita in Ashokvatika. And so these are the combined factors that why in Ashokvatika also he didn't actually touch her at that time.
And then the Chaya Sita actually told Lord Ram, after real Sita was presented, Chaya Sita came to Lord Ram and said that I was given the opportunity to be your wife, but I've never stayed with you. So I'm so unfortunate. So that time Lord Ram said, in my next incarnation, one of the other incarnations, you will be my wife. And when Lord Ram or Krishna, or they came as Tirupati Balaji, the Chaya Sita got the role of Padmavati. Padmavati and Balaji, that Padmavati is actually Chaya Sita.
Oh, very cool. This I did not know. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I like the way you are unfolding the Ramayana. Instead of telling us the story sequentially, you are taking a certain, element to learn from it, and you are taking examples from the Ramayana and you are explaining it to it. It's a very beautiful way of explaining Ramayana. Thank you so much.
We are
God
so
bless
happy that you like it. Thank you.
Oh, like it. I love it. I love it. I mean, my Sundays and Mondays, I don't know what to do. I don't feel like getting up because I don't have anything to look forward to early in the morning. You have become a habit. Thank God.
Thank you. Thank you.
God bless both of you. Really, may Krishna always, always, always be with you and always give us your association. Always.
Very well.
Thank you. We are so grateful to you for your blessings.
Thank you, Mother.
I have no one to bless you, but it's just my prayer to Krishna ki always keep us in your shelter. That's all. In some way, we listen to you, be service, do some kind of service to you, so that this life, in some way, we are near you. That's all.
Very well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna Mataji Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for a wonderful session. But please don't ask forgiveness, Mataji and Prabhuji. It is relation to our ears. At least we are concentrating the devotional speech, right? So please don't ask. You're helping us, really. You're helping us. Okay. Today it was very divine session. Yeah, I liked very, very so much, and so many points and so many lesson learned from here, from this session today. I don't have any question, but I liked the way Mother Shabari served Lord Ram by tasting the fruits and berries. But this materialist people will think in a wrong way, na Mataji. We are not supposed to do that because we are not purified that much level. She's a pure devotee of Lord Ram. So how can we say to these people, like my friends are asking that way? We are not supposed to do that, right? So how can I explain to them?
Well, you see, we are also not on the level of, being the friend of Krishna. When we are friends of
Yes.
Krishna, the Gopasakhas, you know what
Yes.
they do? They actually beat Krishna up.
They steal whatever Krishna is eating.
And whenever Krishna cheats, because he cheats every time in the games, and whenever he cheats, they come and catch him by his neck, they pull him by his head, they give, nicely over here, they hit him like this. This is what the Gopasakhas do.
The Lord also snatches their half-eaten fruit, and runs away and eats it.
What to speak about half-eaten fruits from Madhumangala? What did Krishna do? One day Madhumangala just had some buttermilk he brought. And Krishna said, "Hey, Madhu, what do you have? Madhi, what do you have with you today?" And Madhumangala, he said, "Oh, Krishna will want buttermilk." But, he was very embarrassed that just buttermilk. So he drank the entire buttermilk. But in fast, he couldn't gulp down everything. So he had full buttermilk like this. So Krishna came right in front of him. And when like that. And the fount spray of buttermilk from Madhi's mouth directly to Krishna's mouth went.
Yes.
And that's what bewildered Lord Brahma. If this can bewilder Lord Brahma, what to speak of normal materialistic people?
And
Yeah.
sometimes, as you said, materialistic people say, "Oh, Shabari gave, she ate the berries and gave to Krishna. We can also eat, and then whatever is our remnants, we can give to Krishna."
That's
But
wrong.
that is not comparable because it's not about the act, it's about the consciousness in which we are doing it. Shabari ate with the consciousness that she wanted to give the best to Krishna, to Lord Rama. He was not
Yes.
doing it in the mood of sense enjoyment. But the materialistic people, they are saying this as an excuse that let us enjoy first and then
Okay.
we will give the remnants to Krishna. Their mentality is not to give Krishna enjoyment. Their mentality is, okay, we'll do the ritual of offering, but let us first eat. Even sometimes, but we want to enjoy first. So it's the consciousness which Krishna is accepting, not the act. So the ritual or the act of it may change here and there, but if the consciousness is devotional, then fine. That's the main thing, and that's what we can tell our friends. What is the
Yeah.
purpose? Sometimes when we are
Yes.
cooking, also sometimes devotees taste it and then offer before offering to Krishna and like that. It all, of course, it's not recommended, but it's all about the consciousness in which we are actually offering.
Doing. Yeah. It's clear. It's clear, Mataji and Prabhuji. Wonderful answer. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Dandavad Pranam.
Any other questions or comments? If not, we can end here. Vansha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you very much, dear Advaita and Kalasuda.
Thank
you.
you, Madhurama. Thank you.
Hare
Hare Krishna Mataji, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavad Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Jai Jai Shri Radhe,
Jai
Jai Shri Ram.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Happy
Thank you,
Ram
Prabhuji.
Navami.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Happy Ramanavami to both of you, Mataji and Prabhuji. Class was so good, Mataji. We learned so many things today. Thank you for the wonderful class.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji
Dandavat
and Prabhuji.
Pranam.
Thank you so much
Happy
for
Ram
the
Navami.
wonderful class.
Happy
Happy
Ram
Ram Navami, Kamakshi Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji. Happy Ram Navami.
Hare Krishna,
Jai
Mataji.
Shri Rama Lakshmana Janaki.
Hare Krishna,
Jai Bolo
Prabhuji.
Hanuman.
Jai Ho
Hanuman
Hanuman
ki.
ki Jai.
So on that note, tomorrow we'll be discussing about the glories of Lord Hanuman.
Jai Shri Hanuman.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mataji and Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the wonderful class.
Krishna. Dandavad Pranam.
Rohit.